Today, we're getting involved in City Planner Plays Community Challenge. The challenge is a simple one: build as large a city as possible within 1 hour. However, the city needs to be interesting and it needs to look attractive. The rules are: no disasters, no unlimited money, no mods other than visual ones, and no cheese tactics. Now, I wanted to do something different, so I decided to try and build a Death Star as a city. Why not? And it's going to turn out really good. Well, it's going to be great.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Now, to make things a bit more interesting and a bit more difficult, I want to spend our budget on expensive and completely unnecessary infrastructure. I want to make Vader proud with our own megastructure, but more on his reaction later. I wonder if you can guess what I'm going to build. Let's begin. Okay, so we're going to be using Rock Island, which is a map that's specifically built for this particular challenge. So disasters off, we're not using any unlock, and of course we will need to name our city appropriately. Cool, let's get cracking, let's load it up. I'm going to use some visual mods here. I'm just going to use the preserve photo mode here and sort out some of the exposure and the contrast and saturation and just make it look a little bit nicer for you guys. Timer's up. Let's go. The first thing I'm going to do here is disrespect some topography. Very sorry, City Planner Plays, this all has to go. It must be flattened out. So for this to work, I got to start from the middle and I need to make some really large concentric circles. I didn't quite manage it, to be honest, on the outside one, but you know, this is the plan. So try and pick some uniform lengths on all of the sides, and if we do that, it should be easy enough to get some circles together. Now, that one's going to be too big, so I'm just going to have to rein in our plans. So what I decided to do is just draw out little rectangles, 140 odd meters or so, and then we're going to hook them up on either side, and we'll use a continuous curve to do that. We should get pretty uniform circles pretty much all the way, providing we don't mess it up. We'll get our road connected and we'll get our zoning in just as soon as possible. Let's try and get people in ASAP. Clock's ticking. First of the essential services are in with the electricity, and this is our recurring theme in this challenge, is trying to keep up with the electricity demand. We will of course need some sewage, and we'll need some water facilities as well. Cool, and that is just the very basics of getting the town started. Now I want to keep on top of demand here, so I'm pretty much going to be over zoning. I really want to push that population to as much as I possibly can on this particular build. Right, so let's get back on these circles. Can we start? Yeah, we'll start from the middle. It's probably going to be a better bet. Now what I meant to do, as soon as those signature buildings come out, they come up with benefits and they're free of charge. Cost budget is definitely something that we need to keep an eye on in this challenge. What I should be doing as soon as they pop up, I should be placing them and getting the benefit in the city. And again, there you can see we've started again with electricity. You know, it's insatiable demand for it in this particular build, but and there it goes again. Straight in with the gas, no messing about. And this is the first mistake here. You'll see me moving the power plant to enable me to complete this circle. I moved the power plant, then got distracted, forgot to complete the circle, and it's going to cause a little bit of wasted time later on in the build. And I reckon that's the thing with these challenges as well. You kind of look back and you think, could have done this better, could have done that better, and there's definitely things that I could have shaved time on, and yeah, this is definitely one of them, and it's kind of irritating me when I'm looking back and watching it now, you know. We'll have a quick look at the taxes, and yeah, I really want to push that residential, so I'm going to bump it down to 6%. People are looking relatively happy-ish, so we'll plonk some services down, get the schools in, and advanced road services and highways. That's what I'm looking for. Happy days. So, want to bump up the entrances into the road. I do want to keep on top of the traffic, and what we're about to build should, in theory, help with that. We'll get rid of all these traffic lights. Want to keep things moving nicely. and I'm going to get started on our infrastructure. So first thing I'm going to do is draw a massive dual lane highway right across the middle. In fairness, the first one went in okay. I thought, this is easy, do you know? Who needs anarchy? Well, as it turns out, really I do. The second one was an absolute pain in the hoop to do, but it's what it is. Now I'm getting a little bit excited here and I hooked it up directly to the highway. Of course, what I'm doing there is, it's a highway to nowhere, right? So what I'll need to do, as you can see, nobody's moving in. I need a little bit of a temporary road here. I'll pop it in and at least people can get their butts into the city. Now I remember those signature buildings, we'll grab them and we'll plop them in somewhere nice and central. That should give us some nice boosts. Remember, they're free of charge, so we're definitely going to make the most of them. Let's crack on with the rest of this highway network. You can probably tell what I'm doing at this point. We are of course making a ludicrous interchange, and yeah, it took quite a bit of time to get this highway in. It was no fun, but we managed to do it eventually. So anytime I see that demand popping up, I am going to basically zone and overzone. I really don't want to be seeing the demand bars too much, so I want to get ahead of the game. Not too much, but I'll definitely overzone as and when I can. And the reason that I'm not zoning every single part of it right now is that I want to see how the city develops, and I might have to make some adjustments. I might need some bigger buildings or some bigger services in, so I do want to keep my options open to a certain degree, so I will be overzoning, but I won't be doing it too much. So as we unlock milestone 4, electricity goes again, but first we've got some high density demand, so let's get that satisfied first. We'll get the people moving in. That should off balance any people leaving the city, hopefully, by the time we get that resolved and the electricity issue. I wasted a fair bit of time putting in these power lines, really not necessary to be honest, don't know what I was doing. Now I noticed here that we are running a bit low on funds, so it was time to grab a loan, and I'm just going to grab as much money as I can as I build along here. Now we've got plenty of residential demand here, so let's get that fulfilled. And we're going to use commercial and an office for the most part as a bit of a buffer. So we want to try and keep a bit of distance from our residential and our polluting industry. We want people to stay in the city, of course, so we don't want to poison them. And time to get cracking on with the interchange. So I'm going to start off with a couple of little loops here on the inside, and then we'll build the rest of it out. So not going to be perfect, obviously. I don't have anarchy, and I don't have the patience all the time, quite frankly, in this challenge to make something perfect. But we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. So what I'm going to be shooting for here is a bit of a clover stack interchange. So we're going to have a couple of little loops. We're going to have a couple of big loops on the outside, and then we're going to have some pretty ugly ramps connecting the whole thing together. So if you want to see how to make one of these properly, I do have a tutorial on the channel that I put up the other week. Check it out. This is not the one to copy if you want to build it yourself. So on to the defining feature of this particular build, and this is pretty much the only thing that's going to make it slightly resembling a Death Star, not going to lie. This is going to be the super laser aperture, I think it's called. So this is basically the small circle that's located on the surface of the station, and it's the focal point for the super laser's energy, you know, which is generated in the core of the Death Star and channeled through the focusing lenses. So we can't build that, obviously, in Cities Skylines 2, but I think I'm going to just stick a farm in it just so it's a different colour. Right, highway time, let's try and get that connected. We don't have any demand running, so we don't have to zone right now. So we'll use our time carefully, and yeah, as I said, the plan for this is to really give them a little bit more options in terms of traffic. I don't want them queuing, I want them flowing straight into the city, and they can get to where they need to go really nice and quickly, you know? Well, that's the plan, and I did try and stick to it, but part of this challenge, I guess, is just keeping an eye on different things as they pop up. And really one of the hardest parts of the challenge is actually remembering where you're picking up when you've been distracted with something else. And in the end, one of these ramps didn't actually get connected. It kind of terminated in one of the high density buildings. Now I should be able to connect a couple of these ramps with a bit of luck. The game will allow me. Yep, perfect. It does. I'm just going to use the same methods that I would as if building a normal interchange in a normal city. And these big ramps, once they're in place, we just kind of take them back to the highest point, and then we should get a little bit of a smoother decline in the elevation. It's obviously kind of absurd, but it does help a little bit. Okay, cool. Tiny town. We should have more stuff unlocking, so I do want to keep an eye on and check to see what we have available. Obviously, we're going to have postal at some point. We need internet, and they're going to start crying about parks, I guess, at some point. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. But let's get this interchange sorted first. Now I am conscious that we're going to need some garbage facilities down here, and really the only thing that we've got unlocked at this stage of the game is a landfill, so try to pop it down here, but of course the blooming pointless power lines get in the way, so I'm going to waste a bit of time on here, and I'm conscious that the electricity is shouting at us as well, and that needs to be addressed, so let's pop that down just quickly first. Are they happy? Yeah, they are indeed. I really want to get this blooming interchange finished, so let's try and get that hooked up again before we get distracted by something else. Not gonna lie, that is looking elite level stuff. I'm enjoying the look of that already. Let's see if we can get this ramp hooked up okay, and I think I'll just use a little bit of a mix of a complex curve, and if that's not playing nice, I'm just going to pop onto a simple curve as well. We just use whatever works here, really. Now, I'm taking my eye off the ball here. We've got demand from lots of residential, industry, and commercial. Let's get that sorted. I don't think I've got any mixed use in here, so let's chuck that down. That should hopefully take care of some of the commercial and the mixed use. We'll fire down some of the low-res stuff as well while we're at it. So, death care, that needs to be addressed, and cemetery, not cemetery, what do you call that? The crematorium, right? Crematorium is pretty good, doesn't take up too much space, and should be pretty effective. Now, a little bit of industry, and can we go back to our interchange? Industry's still there, isn't it? Cool, that's connected, perfect, lovely, and we'll just add a few extra lanes on the ends, don't want to forget about that. Keep things moving. We're 30 minutes in, and I think the interchange is pretty much good to go, so we can get rid of that little temporary road. Yeah, that's flowing really nicely, isn't it? So we've got a nice distributor, and that should work really, really good, hopefully. Interchange not quite finished, we still do have a ramp or two to go, but I'm quite happy still to funnel the traffic through there. If we're missing a couple of ramps, I can live with that for just now. We will be able to sort it in just a minute. Again, let's get that industry filled up and get that demand bar down. So that's a lot of the big stuff done, and really what I want to do is to try and make these sims happy. So I'm going to chuck these little parks everywhere. They're pretty cheap, and they do have a pretty small footprint, but if we use lots of them, hopefully we can reap the benefits of it with a little bit of luck. We do have another loan available to us, so I'm going to grab that while I can. And yeah, we're still losing money, but we get $500,000 in the bank, so that's looking pretty good. I do want to preempt them complaining about the mail, so let's pop that pretty much everywhere. And this is one of the nice benefits of using this kind of design. It's very simple to try and get a pretty good coverage on these things. You know, you can just place them central, and obviously plenty of post boxes around the place as well. We can have that fairly uniform, you know. Boomtown as well, brilliant, cool. What have we got unlocked with that? We'll have another look at that in a minute, but first I want to try and tidy things up. I think we've got pretty good demand on the go, a little bit more industrial in fact, so I'll sort that out in just a minute. And at this point I want to try and actually complete the circle, and this is where you can see with the first mistake that I talked about right at the very beginning of the video kind of comes into play. I've obviously built out quite a bit on the outside of the curve, so we're going to have to waste time and relocate some of that stuff really. And I think a decent place to do it is just slap bang at the start of the city entrance, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we're going to put down a brand new landfill, and we will connect that to electricity and some services. Should be pretty straightforward connection here, all going well with a bit of luck. And we can delete this one over here now. Perfect. Right, let's get rid of all of this junk, and yeah, electricity's screaming again. We need to get that connected really quickly. If you don't have electricity connected, they will abandon your city very, very quickly. Is everything looking okay? I think we are good. Yeah, we're good. A little bit of commercial here, so we'll get that in beside the industry again. I reckon it's time to make this thing look a bit Death Star-like, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of this excess land and stuff that we have outside the main circle shape. Looking okay, and yeah, can we connect this now, or is that still going to be in the water? We've still got these electricity cables that we need to get rid of, and this is the time I was talking about earlier on that we're wasting. Try again. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. We get a new signature building as well. And I can see here that that circle is not looking good on that right hand side. That's very upsetting. Very, very upsetting. But it is what it is. I've given this a couple of tries already. I am not going to give it another go. This is our final attempt. Are you guys giving this a go yourself as well? Definitely recommend it. It's a fun one. Doesn't take too long. Remember, it's just an hour, isn't it? You know? But yeah, if you're watching and there's time left, get yourself involved and get a submission in, you know, you never know what you might end up with. Definitely a fun challenge playing without mods. Well, it's a challenge for me anyway. I'm just used to having so many tools to my disposal here, so certainly a novelty. Let's get rid of all of this stuff here. I don't want any of that. I want a nice clean edge to our Death Star city circle. And yeah, it's underground it is. Yeah, let's get rid of that as well. Bye, goodbye. Okay, that's looking good. So yeah, so we'll get onto the Death Star weapon, and I will need to just draw a quick road out here because it's not going to take it on the circle. And yeah, what? 90%. 90 degrees. Give it to me. In fact, back in weight, we have residential demand again. Let's get that filled up, and that was the higher density stuff. Always really nice seeing some of that higher density stuff. It will really help, obviously, with the challenge given as it is, and we're still filtering people into the city pretty effectively. That highway is getting really good usage out of it, so I think that is a worthwhile build if you ask me, but I might be miles away from a decent sized city, so you never know. And oh, signature building, and of course electricity going again as well. We got more money? Perfect, yeah, we've got another loan, so hopefully we can resolve that. That is anxiety producing, not having enough money to actually build more power stations in this build, so I am conscious of that. I would like to keep 100 grand or so. I think it's 100,000 for a power station if I remember correctly, so yeah, I'll be mindful of that as we crack on throughout the build. Hopefully this is starting to look Death Star like now that we've got some of that sea water coming in a little bit closer to the edge. Now the game was acting funny at this point. I thought it was going to crash, so it's time for a quick save. Perfect, and yeah, let's get the farm down here, and we'll get a nice surface, nice texture on this one, and you know, it's just a different colour than what we have in the grass, you know, so it's going to do. Now I know you can do surfaces in vanilla now, but I couldn't actually find the tool, so if anyone knows where that actually is in vanilla, just let me know in the comments, because I couldn't find it. Not that I was really doing an awful lot of detail in here anyway, but I did have a look at a previous effort. Let's have a little look at our city entrance. That is looking beautiful. Now of course part of this challenge is that the city was to be attractive, and I guess attractiveness is in the eye of the beholder, right? I think this is some of my best work, not gonna lie. So keeping on top of demand, or services I should say rather, and let's get some internet. Everybody's happy with that. Perfect. Happiness wise, what are we looking at? Traffic is a problem. Oh, it's so disappointing. Oh my god. And we're sticking a radio. Nobody really cares about the radio, so that's a waste of money. Note to self. Having a quick look at the budget, I believe that is the last loan that we can claim, so yeah, we will now need to be mindful of the cash. That said, I did think about public transport in here, and having a look at the cost of the bus depot was 150,000. I don't know how much of a benefit in terms of getting people into the city that would be. I mean, it's obviously a pretty compact city. Right, let's tidy this up a little bit then. We don't have any demand going at the moment. We'll just let the simulation run and do its thing. We're up at over 12,000 population with 16 minutes left. That, I think, is not bad going. I'm pretty happy with that. I wonder at this point if there's anything obvious that I've missed out trying to boost population, and kind of going through the services in my head and trying to think, what have I missed? Is there anything I can add or anything super obvious that will give us a big boost? Now our Sims were still complaining about healthcare coverage, so time to plop down another clinic, I reckon. We do have the cash and we're actually making money now, which is kind of nice to see, so I guess that population is catching up with the expenses. Sweet, that is happy days, I'm not gonna lie. Keep the taxation the same, and we got another unlock down there as well, so let's try and have a look, see what the Sims are saying. Yeah, I think everything's going pretty well so far. Happy with this. Now I wonder if, oh no, we do have another loan, perfect. So I wonder if a college would drive more people into the city. Let's plonk it down and see what they're saying. We've got nearly £1 million here, so we're kind of rolling in it. Of course, electricity's going again, so time for another power station. Yep, perfect. We're happy with that. Now I noticed that one of the power stations was complaining that it was out of fuel, so I'm guessing that wasn't really producing electricity or not very much. So the nice thing there was I didn't have to replace it. Obviously we had just plopped one down directly prior to deleting it, so yeah, everybody looks happy again. Let's crack on. So back to this college then. Can we fit it in somewhere? We need to chop a couple of roads out. Yeah, no, definitely happy with that. So maybe, I don't know, perhaps that might drive some different types of residential density potentially into the building. I don't actually know if that's going to be the case, but we've got tons of money. Actually, no, we don't. No, we're losing money again. We've got less than 100k. So that is a concern. Hopefully, as people come into the city, they'll pay for the college. Hopefully, maybe. Oops, disconnected all the electricity. Let's get that connected back quickly. Perfect. Let's have a little look and see. Yeah, we got a couple of things that are just disconnected here. I think these are parks that are just randomly plopped down, so we can get them deleted. Having a look at money, we are definitely losing cash, and we got some more industrial, so let's get that fulfilled just quickly. Where are we at? 13,500. That's looking good. Demand is coming back ever so slightly. We've got some medium density stuff, so let's get that sorted out. And I think we'll pop it between the college and the farm, I reckon. Potentially you might have some students looking for higher density accommodation, so I am going to lean into that and get them built. Now as we get into the last 10 minutes of the challenge, I decided to actually bump the taxation up. I really want to stay above that 100,000 mark in case the electricity demand goes again, because if we don't have another loan, you know, and people don't have electricity, they will move out, and they move out quick. It's a big population decrease, so yeah, at least we're over 100 grand. I would rather to have the taxes lower and just try and really push these people into the city, but yeah, it's a big concern. And you can see people queuing. I definitely don't want them queuing, so let's try and sort out a road. A few more lanes always helps, of course. That usually fixes everything, so let's get them added. And we'll make that a one-way so we can filter them elsewhere in the city. And yeah, that seems to be clearing up okay. So I reckon at this point where we're chilling, I am just going to fill a few gaps with commercial and industrial, and again we'll preempt that demand if it's going to come. And again, that commercial will act as a bit of a barrier to the noise on the highway, as well as any commercial potentially as well. And we're using a mix of office to do that, of course. Having a quick look at electricity, we are okay. So yeah, we got 134 grand, up to over 14,000 on the population now, which is nice to see. Perfect. And I reckon we'll spend a little bit more on the parks and just give people a few more reasons to move into the city. And you can see the demand jumping up there as well where we plopped in parks, so that's quite interesting. So let's get that sorted. Low res demand again, so would rather it would be high res or medium, to be honest, rather than low, but I'll take it. It's still people coming in, right? I have to say, this interchange is a masterpiece. It is looking beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, what is going on with my game? Is that autosave? What on earth was that? Yep, time for another save, just in case it disappears on me. Definitely don't want that to happen with just 5 minutes left. Oh, we have issues. We have issues with sewage. Let's sort that. We'll give them their own dedicated facilities here. Let's just plonk this one down right beside it. Did that work? Not so much. No, I think we're just short of water, so quick terraform. Pop that down on the side, and oh yeah, it's highway over that road, isn't it? So that's not going to work. Just run a few pipes. You can delete that actually, we don't need it. Yep, sorted, perfect. Oh, we have a fire. Is the fire brigade on the go? I think we've only got one fire station, but it seems to be doing the job actually, so didn't have to spend too much money on that, which was cool. A little bit more to commercial demand, so let's get that zoned in, and we can plop a few places here and there. Okay, anything else outstanding? I think we're good. Yep. Taking a look at this magnificent city, I just noticed that we have one building complaining about pollution, so that's an easy one. We'll just relocate it and they should be happy soon enough. We've got them nicely beside the other buildings, so fingers crossed on that one. Now as we get into the final 3 minutes, I am going to bump that budget right the way down. Going to put it right down to 0, and I know we're going to lose money, but at the end of the day, I think even if the electricity goes, we don't have that much time running left on the clock. So 2.5 minutes, and we'll make a final push, and we'll try and squeeze as many people more that we can into the city with a bit of luck. So we're on to the final countdown now. Just keep an eye on the numbers. So we're on to the final few seconds of the challenge now. What are we going to end up on? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Time's up. Let's pause it. What are we on? 15,614. Let's give that a quick save so we can upload it. Perfect. How about that? Death Star. Beautiful. Absolutely flawless. Definitely my best city. And I am super happy with that one. But of course, the big question is the big man going to be happy? Darth Vader, what do you think?